Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Kara Corey here, registered dietitian, and we are rapidly approaching 2023, so perfect timing to discuss the worst diets of 2022. Ew, what don't we want to see heading on into 2023? I enjoy doing these videos every year, and I'm actually going to be referencing the US News Best and Worst Diets list. So they do this list every single year. So I am not actually giving you my personal worst list because I feel like there's so many fads that come and go. It's almost, as a dietitian, too hard to keep track of. I cannot tell you the amount of diets that come and go throughout the year. So I'm gonna utilize their list and we're gonna kind of talk about some of their worst ranked diets. If you enjoy these types of videos and would like to see what I think are the best diets out there that you could follow that are sustainable and help keep you on track, then be sure to give this video a like and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I tend to pump out a ton of content in the beginning of the new year as a dietitian, a free resource to help you all, to keep you accountable, but to also keep your head in the right place in terms of what you should and shouldn't be doing as you are possibly heading into some of your New Year's resolutions that could be a diet or weight loss focused. So I am referencing the US News Best and Worst Diets. To give a point of reference for where these rankings come from, we kind of have to know what goes into this. So they always utilize a panel of folks who are considered nationally recognized experts in the field of diet, nutrition, obesity, psychology, medical illnesses like diabetes, heart disease, etc. They rate things based on how easy a diet is to follow. Is it able to produce short-term weight loss? Is it able to produce a long-term weight loss? Its nutritional completeness, love that they do that. Its safety, additionally love that. Its potential for preventing and managing diabetes and heart disease. So those are the two diseases that they look at in terms of prevention and their ability to do so. So keeping this in mind, this is how they went about their rankings. So I'm gonna go through kind of the worst with you, but it doesn't inherently mean they're horrible, but we'll get into each of those. They also do subcategorize things based on, best diet overall, best weight loss, best for diabetes, heart disease. So they have separate categories, but overall, the outliers of what they ranked lowest kind of stay in that category. Before I jump in and tell you what their results are, I want you to head on down to the comment section below and let me know if you followed a diet in 2022 or not. Just let me know, Kara, I didn't follow a single diet, I just lived my best life. Or yes, Kara, I did actually try out the DASH diet, or I tried out keto for a bit. I'm not here to attack anyone or throw any judgment. That's not what my community is all about. We're all here to learn and share, but I would love to know if you followed a diet in 2022 and what it was. So go ahead right now and leave that in the comments. I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description box for the US News because there's a lot of cool information you can go ahead and check out. They also do link the panelists that they choose for these experts. And it really does represent a diverse field of those experts in the medical field. They ensure there's diverse viewpoints, there's representation, and they actually list out all the different panel members, who they are, their backgrounds, etc. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you can check that out as well. I'm nosy and I like to see what dietitians have contributed. On their website, you can actually click through the different rankings if you want to sort it based on what interests you. I think this is actually quite practical for those of you who are just looking to figure out what way you want to go with your diet this next year. If you feel like you need to fit yourself in a box, I guess I'll say, because these diets are specific diets with certain principles, many of which you could consider a fad diet, even for the good or the bad. So this video isn't to tell you that you should be on these diets or you shouldn't be. It's just giving you information when you're trying to think about what would work best for you and thinking about what, if any of these fit your lifestyle or not. So I'm just sorting based on the best overall diets and I'm heading down to the lowest rated ones. So on the bottom of the list is the GAPS diet. This is the gut in Psychology Syndrome diet, which is an elimination diet helping to eliminate hard to digest foods like grains, sugars that can detox the body and heal the gut in hopes to improve brain-related health conditions. So that is quite a powerful diet in my eyes. Not something that I have used in practice. I do work in mental health at a state psychiatric hospital, but we do not prescribe diets of this nature. The folks that come to us are much too sick to be on such a restrictive diet, quite honestly. So this is listed as, and I am reading online, so it's a restrictive elimination diet created by a Russian-born neurologist and nutritionist, which, by the way, you're a nutritionist in case you didn't know it. There is no actual definition. It is not something that is, anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, essentially. There is nothing that backs that term, so be wary of those that say they're a nutritionist. You want to look for a registered dietitian. For those who have had major gut or intestinal issues that could impact the actual toxins entering into your bloodstream and therefore causing a ton more issues that could impact cognition. Very specific. So they're saying gut and psychology syndrome is folks who've had celiac disease, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, possibly type 1 diabetes, allergies, asthma, hormonal problems. So quite a big list there. The diet in general, though, has several different phases to it. I'm just taking a quick look at it, and that is too much for me to follow. And for me as a practitioner, that's one of my biggest red flags when I talk to folks who are utilizing fad diets or elimination type diets. There's definitely a time and place for them. I'm not opposed to implementing or helping someone implement a diet of this nature if they fell into that position where it seemed like it could be helpful to them. But the biggest thing I'm seeing here overall is that it's really quite restrictive. In terms of weight loss, it's not necessarily going to help you lose weight. You're not actually counting any calories with this diet. It's more so focusing on your digestive health, which I think a lot of folks actually need to pay more attention to. So I'll actually be interested to see if more comes from the GAPS diet in the future, but for now it is rated low on the scorecard, lowest rating being that it's not easy to follow. And I think that is oftentimes one of the biggest deterrents with being able to sustain a particular diet is how easy is it for you to follow? How sustainable is it? That's why I practice sustainability, because what is easy for me to follow may not be easy for you to follow, right? That's why we're also unique and different. We all live different lifestyles. And so what could seem easy to one isn't to the other. So it's definitely very subjective. All right, let's go down. What else do we have on the bottom of the list? Okay, the Dukan diet hit the list also on the bottom. This diet has been around for a while. Not one that I really heard about much going through school or anything like that. I think it got more recent attention lately due to celebrities following it. I think Kate Middleton was following it and advertising about it. So I think that's one of the biggest things with the TikTok, does that age me that I just said the TikTok, is seeing people share their diets and they may be super restrictive, but if they're skinny, if they show their flat tummy, their nice booty, people want to follow it. And so we're seeing a lot of these not nutritionally sound fad diets gain popularity based off of celebrities. It's always been that way, but it's growing quicker due to social media and how much access we have to knowing this information now. The Dukan diet, another super restrictive one. This one's also got all these phases in it, which I think are seemingly ridiculous based on a first impression of this diet. I would not want to sign myself up for it. So the overall concepts of this diet is it helps you find out what your true weight should be. Not quite sure how it does that, but it contains 4 phases designed to help you meet your goal weight. And the length of each phase lasts based on your true weight, okay? Sounds very scientific, not sure quite how they know that. So it's quite restrictive. There's an attack phase that you do for a set amount of time, specifics to how much water you drink, and that you have to eat oat bran, 1.5 tablespoons a day, which I like oat bran, so I have no shame on that, but I just don't really understand the purpose of it, other than I saw in an interview, he said that it helps you to rid the calories and keep your body regular, which yes, with high fiber, something like oat bran, which is not soluble, it will help you excrete and remove things from your body, but I don't know that you could say it just eliminates calories that you consume. It doesn't really dismiss the calories you ate that day just because you had 1.5 tablespoons of oat bran, okay? But very high protein, this diet. So I'm good with protein, but I just don't think you need to restrict everything else. So the attack phase, you avoid fruits, veggies, carbs, grains, sugars, all fats, and alcohol. Okay, how many people are gonna be able to follow that? And then you have the cruise phase that goes into adding in some of your non-starchy vegetables, of course, because we have to continue to demonize things like potatoes and corn and carrots. And then there's a consolidation phase that's supposed to help you introduce a bit more food groups. Still foods off limit though, still can't have bananas, grapes, figs, cherries, way too high in sugar. Can't have alcohol, of course. Then you have the stabilization phase. All right, I think you're understanding where I'm going with this all, to not get too far down in the weeds. That one is just, it's way too hard to follow. It's very specific and it has some underlying principles. You can tell there in terms of really omitting the sugar, focusing first on the high protein, which is really gonna help you lose a lot of weight. Of course, if you're eliminating all carbohydrates, your body's not only going to lose lbs, but you're gonna be losing a lot of water because the carbohydrate molecules are always attached to water. So anytime you cut carbs, you also lose water weight as well. Hopefully that makes sense. And so they really kind of quickly get you to lose weight by strictly sticking with more high protein food sources. It's just a bit unnecessary, in my opinion, to do all that. Why do we have to go through all these phases? Let's just figure out what works best for you. But would love to know if anyone's tried that diet, because I've never actually met anyone that's told me they've done that diet before. Let me remind you, I didn't come up with this list, but another one on the bottom of the list is the keto diet. So she was rated low, again, usually on the bottom of the rating scale there. And I think because if we looked at the actual rating for its ability to produce short-term weight loss, it depends though. When you eat keto, it doesn't necessarily mean you're counting calories and in a calorie deficit, which for the most part is what most people need to produce a weight loss. Now, some people can be in a caloric deficit and not necessarily lose weight. There could be other medical things going on precluding that from happening, but short-term weight loss can occur. It's a 3.7 out of a 5 on their scorecard. In terms of long-term weight loss, it's a 3 out of 5. I think more research is still needed on that. Easy to follow is low. It's a 1.4 out of 5. And same with healthy, it's also low, rated less than a 2. So it's healthiness and ability to follow easily, not necessarily there. Every year that I do these videos and I mention keto, I get someone down in the comments writing a full page of how keto has changed their life. So I am not personally attacking you. I'm just saying for the general population, this is probably not going to be something that most people can sustain, nor are we sure if this is actually healthy in the long term. I do believe there is a medical place for the keto diet, which has been researched, it has been studied, so it really does depend on you medically and what you need. It could also be very dangerous medically based on your health conditions, which is why everyone's diet is so unique and specific. Right above that, we have the Whole30 diet, which honestly, I've worked with clients this past year and coached them through the Whole30 diet. It's a weight loss plan. It is designed to change your life, and it is very restrictive, I will say. The theory behind it is eliminating any of those problematic foods for the first 30 days that could be problematic to your allergies, your mental health, depression. I didn't actually realize that was part of their concept behind it, but and then they start to reintroduce foods based on, it's kind of phases. All these fad diets work with phases. I mean, I guess maybe they're doing that nowadays to focus in a little more on stability, understanding that we can't restrict for life, but I'm still not necessarily down with the restriction component of it. So Whole30, it's got that elimination phase through it. So the first 30 days is the most restrictive, and then after that, you can add back in more foods. Acceptable foods are obviously whole foods, as you can imagine: eggs, fruit, meat, seafood, vegetables, natural fats like ghee, herbs, spices, extracts. Those are all okay. You won't be able to consume sugar, alcohol, any grains, any legumes, soy-based foods, no dairy, and no food processing ingredients. So I know for people that's really restrictive. It kind of forces you almost to like not go out to eat. You almost do have to prepare all your own food, cook for yourself. And sometimes that's the way I look at it. Do you have to necessarily subscribe to the Whole30 diet? Or is it that you just need to really lock down good meal planning processes in your own home to set you up for success versus going to work every day and not packing food and eating out constantly and just not really having any purpose with your nutrition? I think many people don't. And that can be a really dangerous place, obviously, for Americans to not have any purpose because we are surrounded by highly palatable foods all the time. The access to things are incredible. I always get an eye-opening of that when I'm around people who are from other countries and they're just like, what you Americans have here is, wow, we don't have access to all this. You hear that from even just folks in Canada, you know, our neighboring country, that like they don't have access to all the stuff that we have access to. So if we don't have any kind of purpose with how we're eating and why we're eating the way we eat, it can get dangerous real quick in terms of just choosing to eat for taste can be a slippery slope. So when you get into these diets that are so restrictive, are they necessary, or is it that you need to find your own purpose again? You need to identify what diet will work for you. Is Whole30 a super unhealthy diet? Probably not. It really isn't. It's, you know, I don't like that it eliminates grains. I think it does add them back in after a set period of time, which is why on the health scale, it's a little bit higher compared to the other ones we spoke about. But its ability to follow for the long term gets really tough for folks because it's just not practical. It's not portable. It's not a portable diet for folks who travel and go places and need to quickly, you know, prepare things. So I think in a way it sets a lot of people up for failure to be able to adhere to it beyond the 30 days. So next that we have ranked low on the list is the AIP diet. This one is for autoimmune disease. This one is more of your anti-inflammation protocol, autoimmune protocol for folks with trigger symptoms for inflammation, folks who have rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, lupus. I'm even thinking Lyme disease, even though I feel like it's missed in anything you look at or read and we don't know anything about it. And it drives me nuts because that is what my husband struggles with. I do think diets like this do have a place for folks with these inflammatory diseases. I've seen it just firsthand with my husband, how sensitive individuals can be based on their medical underlying conditions with their foods and how they respond. And it can really be as simple as one certain food being a trigger for you. So while this is low on the list in terms of easy to follow, and weight loss wise, this to me doesn't scream a diet where you're trying to lose weight necessarily. This is a diet more specific to that immune response, which I do believe is something that we continue to see more research on. And we are seeing just even the general population who maybe doesn't have any of these conditions being more mindful of it. And I even hear a lot of people throwing out not having dairy, even if they don't have any autoimmune issues, because of the inflammatory response to things. So I think it's being more widely talked about. Some people are following it, maybe don't need to. Some people want to try it. I don't think it's a bad thing that we have diets like this planned out as a starting point. I'm thinking about me as a practitioner working with someone. This would be something I would maybe look to implement for someone that was having a lot of triggers. If someone came to me and said, I want to lose weight, am I going to then put you on the AIP diet? No, I'm not going to do that, but I don't think it's inherently a bad diet to have in our arsenal of tools. The other one that fell low on the list, which I've never been a huge fan of, although I did try it once when I was in bodybuilding phase, is I tried a version of this. It was clean eating / acid alkaline diet. So I think this still has been kind of big, and I do still hear people doing this diet quite a bit in terms of focusing on the pH balance of your body and what foods you're consuming and how that can throw it off and how that could potentially impact your ability to lose weight. I think this diet ends up being hard for folks to follow. It heavily eliminates meats, poultry, dairy, and grains, and focuses instead on healthy fats, which I'm good with that, fruits, vegetables, and legumes. So this one is just super duper restrictive, could potentially lead to some nutritional deficiencies and just be really hard for people to manage long term. Again, if you are someone looking for weight loss, I don't think this is necessary. I think we often think we have to go from 0 to 100 to lose weight, and we do not have to go that strict. And I've had so many people tell me though, I just need someone to tell me what to do. Because if you tell me what to do and I pay you to tell me what to do, then I will follow it. And I do understand that to a degree. But what happens when that payment ends? What happens when that coaching plan ends or that dietitian consultation program ends? How do you continue? Are you always going to live in the black and white? Probably not. Those are the folks that continue to yo-yo up and down. So my takeaway message to you is many diets are inherently bad. You have to figure out based on your situation what works best for you. And you may need to call in the help of a dietitian or speak to your doctor before going into any of these fad diets. I listed off what was ranked as the worst. So let me reiterate that. These were rated as the worst for one reason or another, as we discussed, but everyone needs a little something different. I think we don't need to go so extreme. So if many of you are looking to start fresh in the new year, I think the best thing you can all do is take a look at what you've been doing this past year. Think about a time in your life that you were following a diet that worked really well for you and you felt really happy and content, and it wasn't inherently hard to follow either, because you have to be able to continue it along. That way you're not jumping on and off that wagon, losing weight, regaining it, losing it, regaining it. We need to stop that cycle. Let's stop that cycle in 2023. That's gonna be it for this video. If you wanna hear more about what was ranked the top favorite diets, and if I agree or not, then let me know. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoy these types of videos. It does help me out in the algorithm. YouTube likes to hide me and bury me somewhere. I think just because I've been around for so long. They're like, get out of here, girl. So let's make sure YouTube remembers I am here to stay, and I will be bringing you lots of content in 2023. And I should have more videos before then. That's gonna be it for me, guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and I will see you in the next one.